Hey, what's going on, fellow troopers? A few weeks ago, I made a post asking you guys for your questions that you may have for me. And boy, did you guys have a lot of questions. Now, of course, I can't go through all these, but I have broken them down into 3 different categories. Those being personal questions, questions about Star Wars, and then questions just about the channel in general. And the reason I wanted to do this was so you guys could, get to know me a little bit better. You can peek behind the computer animator, the screen, I don't know. I don't have a good analogy, but, you guys can get to know me just a little bit better. So, you know what? We're just going to dive right into it, and here's the first question. At what age did you start drawing and animating? Have you had schooling, and have you had jobs or other professions? I've been drawing pretty much as long as I can remember. Before I could walk, I was drawing. And I actually come from a very artistic background as far as my family goes. I mean, I've had people do so much. I've even had some people in my family who have actually worked on comic books before. I did have some schooling, not so much with drawing, but more so graphic design. That's what I went to school for. As far as jobs go, I mean, I've had a pretty big background of different things that I've done. My first job ever was actually a bag boy at a grocery store. That was my first job, 7 years of bagging groceries. After that, I mean, I've worked at many different places as a graphic designer for t-shirt shops, newspapers. I've worked at radio and just other places where they needed a graphic designer for catalogs and stuff like that. Next question, are you married? Yes, I am married. I've been married for almost 6 years now. And as you guys know, I like to put little hidden secrets within my episodes, and there's actually been a couple where I was able to sneak my wife's name in there. Not sure if you guys ever noticed, but for example, right here on this scene in Luke's X-Wing here, you can actually see my wife's name printed on the dashboard. Now, of course, this is not English, so if you don't know what it is, look it up. All right, next question. Holy crap, that is a big question. Okay, I can't answer all this, but I will answer the first question. What is your dog's name? So, I actually have 2 dogs right now. The first dog was my wife's dog before we got married. Her name is Charlie. Charlie. She's almost 13 years old now, I think. And she's a Min Pin Schnauzer mix is what she is. Our second dog, we've had him for about 2 years now, and his name is Remy, and he's a Border Collie. And he is very smart. I'm pretty sure a lot of people say that about their dogs, but he truly is very smart. So smart to the point that I actually get scared about what he's thinking about sometimes. He almost seems like an evil genius in a way. All right, moving on. Next question. Outside of animation, Star Wars, and video games, what hobbies interest you? Oh boy, well, to be honest, you kind of got rid of a few of the big ones. But I mean, I do have many hobbies. For example, I've been playing guitar since I was 10 years old. Back in the day, I was really into skateboarding, which I don't really do anymore, but I do like to hop on the longboard every once in a while. And ever since I was 14, I've actually really been into photography. So much so, I actually do have a separate Instagram account for my photography. So if you guys ever want to check that out, I will put that in the link in the description as well if you want to go check it out. I know it's a very common answer, but another thing I like to do is travel. So much so that me and my wife actually at the moment are in the middle of doing a van conversion right now. And no, we're not going to live in it. I mean, trust me, I would love to live in it right now, but we're just converting it just again for travel and, for camping and stuff like that. So that's currently what we're working on. It's not finished yet, but we're hoping to have it done this summer. Something else you may know about me if you've been following me for a while is that I am actually a professional illusionist. Now, I don't really do shows anymore. I still do maybe a thing here and there, but back in the day, I actually was a professional illusionist. Now, of course, I wasn't performing in Vegas or anything like that, but I was performing pretty much all over the state that I was living in at the time. A couple other quick things. I mean, I've done spray paint art before. I haven't done it in a while, but it is something I want to get back into. One other thing would be, I mean, I'm not really into cosplay. I think they're cool, but I don't really do it myself. But something I do like to do is I like to take like Nerf guns or like little toy stuff and like do like a really cool like paint job on it. In fact, I actually have one of those hanging on my wall right underneath my YouTube plaque. All right, next question. Do you read and have you read Throne of Glass? I have not read that book, but however, I actually have recently been reading more. If you were to ask me about 2 years ago, I would say I never read a book ever. I never was into reading. It still is kind of hard for me to read sometimes, but I have been getting into reading more. For example, I actually read a lot of the Thrawn trilogy stuff, and I actually just bought the book Shadow of a Sith, which I have not read yet, but once it's finished, I'll let you know what I think of it. Some other stuff I've actually been reading, and again, it wasn't that I wasn't into comic books. I always thought comic books were cool, but I never really got a chance to really read them or enjoy them when I was a kid. So recently, I've actually been reading more of those. For example, I actually just finished the Dr. Aphra series. I think it was from 2015 series, which is really good. Dr. Aphra is a very interesting character in Star Wars. If you don't know about her, look her up. She's really cool. I really like her character, so I would encourage checking her out if you haven't read anything for Star Wars comics right now. Do I sometimes feel like I just can't keep going with YouTube? How do I feel about the community that I've created? Do I post them as a hobby or anything else? And honestly, I think this is a good question for any YouTube creator because In my honest opinion, I mean, yeah, it is kind of a love-hate relationship. I mean, obviously, do I love making videos? Of course I do. Can it be stressful and sometimes feel like you can't keep up with it? 100%. And I've said this before, and I'm sure you guys are tired of me saying it, that animation is a process and it does take time. Unlike other YouTubers who could say put out 2 or 3 videos a week, I would say on average I could put only 1 out a week. So because of that, you are working really hard. It's still fun. In the end, it is a hobby and it is for fun. And I just hope you guys enjoy the videos as much as I do actually making them. Not a question, but tell me 3 cool facts about yourself. Let's see. I'm not sure if they're interesting, but a couple random facts about myself. I'm originally from Boulder, Colorado. I graduated high school in 2011, and I once destroyed an escalator with a penny. Don't believe me? Well, I'm not even sure if I can really tell you all this for legal reasons, but yes, you can destroy an escalator with a penny. So where did I learn how to do these animations? Well, if you guys have been following the channel for a while, I'm sure you guys know that I am a self-taught animator. I even go out and tell people that I'm technically not a professional animator. This is all just stuff that I've taught myself and I'm still slowly learning. And that's actually one thing I like to do. I like looking back on videos I've made 5 years ago compared to today to kind of see, the comparison of what I've changed and what I've improved on. In fact, for those of you who have been subscribed for a while, let me know in the comments what you guys have noticed as probably the biggest change on the channel. Alright, now moving on to Star Wars questions. If you could specialize in one force power to its highest degree, which one would it be and why? Now, I think if we're being truly honest, the amount of Jedi tricks and force tricks, I mean, the list kind of goes on and on. But keeping to the basics, I would probably say, honestly, that mind control. I don't know if you want to call it mind control exactly, but kind of like that thing that Obi-Wan does when he tricks the Stormtrooper.
You don't need to see his identification.
We don't need to see his identification.
I mean, if I can get myself out of a ticket, I'll do it. What do I think about the new Bad Batch season that's going to be coming out? I actually liked it so far. I think it's really interesting, and I'm looking forward to seeing what they have in the next season. What do you think about the hello there in Kenobi? So, I'm not going to get too deep into this, but I do have mixed feelings. So, I mean, it is obviously a really famous line from Star Wars, and I think it's funny to use, in the correct setting. But as far as memes go and stuff like that, I think it's highly overused.
Hello there.
As far as a line goes, that I would say is probably my favorite line that's maybe overly used is that I've got a bad feeling about this.
I got a bad feeling about this.
That's probably my favorite. What do you think about other movies instead of Star Wars? Well, I don't think it's gonna be too surprising when I say I love movies. I love all kinds. I love the new stuff. I love the classics. I even made a whole video about Blockbuster and what it was like during that time, which if you haven't watched it, please go watch it. It's by far one of my favorite videos I've ever made. I even made a whole video about Back to the Future, which is by far one of my favorite movies of all time, which is exactly why I combined Star Wars and Back to the Future in that animation. Have you watched the Clone Wars series, and do you think pineapples are a good topping for pizza? So yes, I actually have watched the entire Clone Wars series, but, and maybe some of you will get mad at me, I honestly did not watch them until probably about 3 years ago. It's not that I thought it was bad or anything like that, I was just never into it, and so until about 3 years ago, I actually sat down and I watched all of it. And as far as the pineapple on pizza goes, no. No, 1,000 times no, you will never convince me. Pineapples do not belong on pizza. You disagree? Well, okay, that's fine, you can disagree. Which Star Wars game is your favorite? So, I mean, it's kind of hard to pick a favorite Star Wars game. As far as an older game or a classic, I used to play Rogue Squadron on the Nintendo 64 all the time. I can't tell you how many times I've played through that game. As far as new games, I mean, there hasn't been a whole lot of new stuff. I mean, there's the Legos and Battlefront, but I would say as far as new games go, my favorite game so far would be Jedi Fallen Order. I really like that. I would say if you're still on the fence or you haven't played it, trust me, play it. I love that game. As far as, like I said, new games go, that's probably my favorite Star Wars game for new. What's your favorite color lightsaber? So, I mean, I would say it's nothing interesting. I would say it's the light blue color, kind of like what Luke Skywalker had in the first movie. Don't know why. I mean, I will say when I was a kid, my favorite color for lightsaber was green, because I actually really liked Qui-Gon. I thought he was super cool, and he used a green lightsaber, so that was kind of my favorite for a while. But then I went back to, kind of Luke Skywalker and that light colored blue look. The real question is, are you Star Wars Legends or canon? If I were to pick one, it would have to be Legends. I mean, if you haven't picked it up by now, I would say you haven't watched enough of my videos. I definitely prefer Legends. I love a lot of, of George Lucas's stuff. Now, that doesn't mean I don't like canon. Of course I like canon. There's a lot of cool stuff about canon. I mean, there's also some very highly debated stuff about canon, but in general, I think they both have their merits, honestly. Which do you think is the best trilogy? Well, I mean, with the last question, it shouldn't be that hard. The original trilogy, episodes 4 through 6, if I had to pick one, I would probably say Return of the Jedi is my favorite. Don't know why, I just love that one as a kid. I can't tell you, that's probably the one I've watched the most. How many lightsabers do you own? I think everybody grows up, whether they're 10 or 25 or whatever, I think, having a cool lightsaber is definitely a want. Now, of course, that means they're not cheap. As of right now, though, I actually have 2 lightsabers, and I actually have one self-made lightsaber. I'll show you right here. As I said earlier, like I said, I don't really do cosplay, but I like making like little Nerf guns or little art projects like this, and this is actually a lightsaber that I made myself. I went to Home Depot one day, and I just bought a bunch of pieces and put it together, and I think it turned out pretty cool. And you know what? I'm actually glad that you brought up lightsabers, because OwnASaber.com is going to be giving away lightsabers again. If you guys remember, they've actually been giving away lightsabers this whole month. But don't worry, if you missed out on those, they're going to have one more opportunity for you guys to win a free lightsaber. On July 19th, they're going to be releasing a Google link on their Instagram, and it's going to be live for 24 hours. During that time, you can sign up. All participants are going to be put into a spinning wheel, and they're going to pick 2 winners on July 21st. If you're a winner, you will be contacted via email. And in that email, you will receive a 100% coupon code that you can use on any of their sabers. And I truly mean that. Any saber you find on their website, small, big, doesn't matter. You can use that coupon code FREESABER no matter what. And you know what? If you don't win, that's fine. They're also going to be having a really good deal on their Xeno Pixel sabers. They're all going to be 30% off, and that sale ends July 20th. Trust me, they're really good quality, and they're just plain fun. So I'll be sure to put those links in the description. Be sure to sign up for the giveaway, and good luck to you all. All right, we're going to move on to the next category, which is questions about the channel. So what made me want to start the channel and use a Stormtrooper as the main character? Well, to be honest, this answer could be very long, but I'll keep it brief. So, like I mentioned earlier with other hobbies, I mean, I do photography, but I also like to make video, but I honestly didn't have a whole lot of people to help me in making those videos. But when it comes to animation, that can be done mostly by myself. So that's kind of what got the ball rolling as far as getting me interested in why doing animation specifically. And why Stormtrooper? I mean, I honestly just thought it would be cool to see a perspective of just a normal day Stormtrooper and what it was like to live on the Death Star. And an even broader question, why Star Wars? I mean, come on, we're all here. We all love Star Wars. If Star Wars never existed, what would you make videos about? Well, if we're sticking to animation specifically, to be honest, probably my next favorite thing would be Spider-Man. Again, I know a very generic answer. If somebody asked you, hey, what's your favorite superhero? My answer's Spider-Man. And honestly, that's just what it is. I mean, he's not my only favorite, but growing up, it was always Spider-Man. So if it would honestly be revolved probably around the Marvel Universe, specifically about Spider-Man. Is there a reason the Death Trooper hates pickles? So now there's many things about this channel that have nothing to do with me, but not surprisingly, most creators put a little bit of themselves into the stuff that they create. And why does the Death Trooper hate pickles? Because I myself hate pickles. I hate pickles so much that, I mean, that is how I act. If I order a burger and it has pickles, I'm like, I said no pickles. I just don't like pickles. So, I mean, a little bit of my personality kind of came off on the Death Trooper, as far as him not liking the pickles. Will you do a face reveal? Maybe if I reach 500,000, maybe that'll be a goal. If I reach 500,000 subscribers, I'll do a face reveal. How do you come up with stories like the Karen trilogy? And what would you want to be, a Jedi, Sith, or bounty hunter? Well, I mean, just like anything else. I mean, I think we take things from our lives and, we kind of spin it and, put something into it creatively. At the time of making the Karen video, I mean, Karen videos were super popular at that time, and just the Karen trend was popular at that time. And I always thought to myself, what if there was a Karen Stormtrooper or a Karen that lived on the Death Star? What would that be like? And so that's where I came up with the idea of Karen. So again, whether it's a personality or things going on in the world or just experiences we have just by ourselves, I mean, everybody kind of takes things that they have and they put it into their work. And as far as the last question, Jedi, Sith, or bounty hunter, I actually put a lot of thought into this. So I think those are kind of the basic answers that a lot of people think, if you lived in Star Wars, what would it be? But to be 100% honest, I thought about it really hard the other day, and if Star Wars was real and I actually lived in it, I would most likely be a smuggler. Don't know why. I think I don't know why. That just seems more appealing to me. How many people work on your videos? 90 to 95% of the time, it's all done by me. I mean, the animation, the sound effects, effects, the drawings, that is all 100% me. However, I do like using other people to voice some of the characters. Some of the people who have voiced other characters are some of my friends or other people that I've met, throughout the YouTube community. And as you know, I've actually had giveaways to actually bring just random fans onto the channel, which that has always been a fun experience. So do I get frustrated if I have a vision and I can't bring it out the way maybe I was imagining it? A little bit. I would say definitely towards the beginning. Like I said, I am not a professional animator. It was all self-taught, and so I was really doing a lot of trial and error to kind of figure it out. Throughout the past 5 years though, honestly, I've become pretty well equipped with my tools that I have, and there really isn't a whole lot of stuff that I can't do. It's more so stuff that maybe is a little bit more frustrating because it's just a lot more work, whether it's explosions or flying ships or whatever. But no, there's never really been a time where I gave something up because I couldn't create it. So what is the favorite video you've had so far, and what gave you the idea? Honestly, probably one of my favorites, and I kind of mentioned earlier, was the Blockbuster video. Now granted, that one wasn't necessarily Star Wars, but I can't tell you, I put so much work into that script. I put so much work in just all the cutscenes, and I would say maybe not exactly favorite, but probably the one I'm most proud of just because of all the work that went in behind it. Second to that would probably be, again, the Star Wars and Back to the Future parody video. How many people can you fit in a frame? Well, to be honest, it's not limited. Obviously, the more people you have, the more smaller the character has to be to fit them all on there. Typically, it's anywhere from 2 to 3 at most in a frame, but there have been episodes, where I've been able to fit a few more in depending on the scene. But the actual answer is, pretty much limitless. What platform do you use to make your videos? So I actually gave a very starter video on like how to kind of start animating, and I kind of went over everything that I use. And if you want to check that out, I'll put that in the link as well. But in general, as far as drawing, I use Affinity Design. That's a really good program, and it's very affordable, so I recommend that. As far as videos go, it's mostly used with DaVinci Resolve or Adobe Premiere. How many years did it take you to get to where you currently are with animating? So I kind of mentioned it a little bit, but altogether, I've been doing this for 5 years, and if you want, go back and watch my very first few videos and then compare it to now, and you can see just within 5 years all the changes. All right, last question. What's the best part of making these videos? Probably my favorite part is, just the creative process. And I think the final result is probably, what a lot of people look forward to. Basically when you have an idea in your head, maybe you draw it out, maybe you write it down. From the very first steps of the idea of it to the very final completion of what basically that vision was in your head, and now you actually have a piece that you can represent of what you thought. I think that's the best part. And then of course, being able to share it with you guys. Alrighty guys, I think those are all the questions I'm going to be able to go through today. I hope you really enjoyed this. I hope it was able to get you to kind of know a little bit more about me. If I did not get a question that maybe you were hoping to answer, go ahead and put it in the comments. Because if you guys like this, I would like to do this again in the future. Alrighty guys, as usual, thank you for watching. If you liked it, be sure to give it a thumbs up. And if you are not yet, go ahead and click that subscribe button. And until next time, may the Force be with you.